Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And once again, we're going to be taking a look at Fairy Tail Volume 14 from Hiro Mashima, which sees the continuation of the Battle of Fairy Tail arc, which began in the last volume after our heroes returned from their epic battle with Jalal, and they're preparing for the Fantasia Harvest Festival, which is an event hosted by the Fairy Tail Guild members in Magnolia once a year. Now, while this was going on, Loxus and his cronies, the Raging Tribe, were taking down a dark guild when Loxus came across a Sorcerer Weekly magazine which had pictures and interviews of both Gaziel and Juvia, who have now joined the Fairy Tail Guild, and this really pissed Loxus off because, well, they were former bad guys at a certain point a few volumes ago when they were working for the Phantom Lord Guild, and they destroyed the Fairy Tail Guild way back when, and, well, Loxus is just completely pissed off by that and is taking it all out on his grandfather, Master Makarov. So, Loxus and the Raging Tribe return to the Fairy Tail Guild while the ladies are partaking in the Miss Fairy Tail Beauty Contest, and Evergreen uses her stone gaze magic to turn all the ladies to stone, holding them as hostages, when Loxus says that the Battle of Fairy Tail has begun, and it's a race to see who can be the strongest, and they have to either defeat Loxus in 3 hours, or Makarov has to relinquish the title of Master to Loxus in 3 hours, or else all the ladies who were turned to stone are essentially going to have their statues destroyed and turned to dust. So there's a lot of high stakes, and as all our heroes from the guild run out there to try and defeat Loxus, they keep getting trapped in these Jutsu Shikis, which are enchantments created by Freed of the Raging Tribe, and they have to, essentially undergo whatever the rules of the enchantments are, whether it's the two fighting each other or the two not using magic, etc., etc. And while all this is going on, there's an enchantment surrounding the guild which states that anyone over the age of 80 cannot exit the guild, thus leaving Master Makarov unable to do anything. But the more interesting bit of information is the fact that Natsu cannot leave as well, despite the fact that he appears not to be any older than the age of 20, because, well, we've seen little character bios for other characters such as Gray. I think he's 18, Urza's 19, Loxus is 23, so Natsu's probably between the age of 17 and 20, but he can't leave, which is very interesting. And I think Mashima either mentioned in the last afterword or in this afterword that it all makes sense for the plot later on. So, as it ended, Evergreen defeated Elfman because Elfman was running down on the scene guns ablazing to save his sister. And it ended with Gray going up against Bixlow. So we got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. And you may notice Mira Jane's on the cover here because she has an important chapter later on. And a little bit of spoilers with the first interior cover. This is Mira's transformation magic. She can transform into demons. Holy crap, dude. She's like a sexy succubus right there. But anyway, let's continue our journey right here. And also, Makarov sent Ritas out there, who's sort of like a support mage, not very powerful, to find poor Lyuska to get medicine to turn the ladies back to normal, but he was defeated by Freed very easily. So Loxus appears as a thought projection, and he's mocking Natsu, saying, well, why aren't you out there trying to fight me, Natsu? What's going on? And he's like, I would get out of here if I could, but I can't. And then Happy says, well, Gray's out there. He'll save the day. And Loxus is just laughing like, oh, that little boy, he can't save anybody. So he's going up against Bixlow, who uses dark magic, also known as Seath magic, and he can take control of inanimate objects. So he has these things who he calls his babies, and they're like these little puppets out there. Anything that's an inanimate object he can control. And what Gray does is he turns them all to ice to attack Bixlow directly. And essentially, Bixlow's not even really that powerful. He can just use like this puppetry magic or whatever to do his bidding. But he himself is not really that powerful. So Gray's doing pretty well here, but Bixlow fights back and starts running away. And he ends up in like this department store with mannequins and stuff. And then he chases him out to this alleyway where Gray finds that he's caught in a Jutsu Shiki, an enchantment. And the enchantment reads, anyone within these boundaries must use no magic until the battle is over. So with that, Gray can't use his ice make magic, and Bixlow is able to ambush him. And it's not enough, so Gray gets defeated pretty easily with cheap tactics, with Freed using his magic to step in, and Bixlow is the winner. So it cuts over here, and like I said, the other members were fighting each other, so now there's only 28 left. I think when it started, there was over 100, and they keep fighting against each other, and it's just the Battle of Fairy Tail. The Fairy Tail members are fighting amongst each other. And Makarov's saying, just stop this, Loxus. What are you doing? And, that's his end goal. Loxus reveals his plan, that he wants to be the master of fairy tale, and his grandfather should yield. So as all this is going on, they hear a noise in the background, a bunch of chomping and clinking, and Gajiel, who's the Iron Dragon Slayer, similar to how Natsu must consume flames to regain his powers, Gajiel eats like metal to regain his powers, and he's trapped there as well. And they're like, all right, Gajiel, will you go out there and fight too? But it turns out he can't escape the barrier either. And they're like, what's going on? You're over the age of 80 too? Because Natsu's convinced he's over the age of 80 because he can't escape. And just the faces they make is hilarious. So we got all that going on. We have this guy, Alzak here, who's the gun mage. And he's trying to save Biska, who's sort of his counterpart. She uses gun magic as well. And he's going up against Freed, who uses the enchantment. Anyone who uses magic will have the air sucked out of them. So he uses gun magic, tornado shot. And it sucks all the oxygen out of him, and he's defeated easily. I guess Freed doesn't really have much magic abilities. He just has his enchantments to do his bidding. So as all this is going on, you see the carnage, everyone defeating each other. Makarov standing there like, how is this happening? So as Alzak is defeated, they mention the fact that there's only 2 wizards left, right? Gajiel and Natsu, and they're both trapped in there. So Natsu has the bright idea to get Urza to break out of the statue, and he starts shaking her like a madman. Look at his face, I'll burn her! And she starts cracking. And then you see Gajiel trying to put Urza back together. He turns his hand into an iron hammer, and then all of a sudden it starts cracking even more. And Urza comes back to normal there in her sexy outfit from the Miss Fairy Tale contest from the last volume. But it turns out the reason why she was able to break free was the fact that she has a prosthetic eye. She has a false eye. So the way Evergreen's magic worked was she had to look into your eyes and it turns you into stone. And because Urza only has one real eye, the magic wasn't as effective as it should have been. And thus, after a certain amount of time, she breaks free. So they're looking at the screen here, and just before there was 2 members, now there's 3 with Urza, but then it says remaining members 4. And you see Urza's face. It seems that a certain man has decided to join in as well. And Mystigan has joined the fray. So we've only ever seen Mystigan twice, really. We've never seen him in action. The first time we saw him, he was accepting an S-class quest where he put everyone to sleep because he wants to keep his identity a secret. You see his outfit right there. And then the second time we saw him was during the Phantom Lord arc when, the Fairy Tale members were going up against Jose and the main Phantom Lord force. But apparently there was 50 other Phantom Lord guilds, which Mystigan took out single-handedly. So he's clearly a very powerful member of the guild, one of Fairy Tale's strongest members. So they're all preparing their counterattack. It's 4 versus 4 here. Loxus, Freed, Bixel, and Evergreen. Well, these 2 idiots are still trapped there. But Gajiel, Natsu, Mystigan, and Urza. And this is a great page here. These are the colored pages. You can tell just by the way it's shaded there. Very beautiful here. I got a chance to look them up. So what happens is Urza goes down to look for Evergreen to defeat her because she realizes if she defeats Evergreen, all the people who are turned to stone will turn back to normal. Which is exactly what happens here. And then Evergreen's trying to do the same trick. First of all, she's very confused as to how Urza's here fighting. And you see Urza's closing the one eye, that's the false eye. So she can't turn to stone. And aside from that, Evergreen also has a different type of magic. She has the fairy machine gun, Leprechaun. So she's firing her fairy machine gun at her. And what Urza does is she requips to, there's for your foot fetish people, she requips to hold a sword in her feet, 2 swords actually, to block all the attacks. So that's pretty hilarious. And she throws the swords there to trap her, and basically says, turn everyone back to normal, or else you'll feel the pain of my swords. And she equips to her Heaven's Wheel armor with her hundreds of swords and axes and all sorts of weapons. And just look at Evergreen's face. Like, okay, ma'am, I'll turn everyone back to normal. So at this point, all the ladies turn back to normal. We got Lucy, Kana, Mira Jane, Juvia, Biska, and Levy all back to normal, ready to join the battle. So all the ladies can join the fray now to do what the men couldn't. So look at them all back to normal and ready to go. And Loxus is pissed because while Urza is very powerful, we also know that Mira Jane was a former S-class wizard who, stopped taking on quests after what happened to her sister many years ago. So after this, Freed returns to Cardia Cathedral where Loxus is hiding out and essentially says, well, the game's over. What should we do? And Loxus is pissed, attacking Freed, saying, you know, my fairy tale doesn't need you, you weakling. You're to kill whoever you're going to fight. You know, he gets all crazy. And after all this is going on, Natsu's like, well, we didn't really see who was more powerful than Loxus, so let's begin the second battle of Fairy Tail. And all the girls are like, Natsu, would you stop? Our lives were just in the balance of you idiots, and look what you did. It had to be Urza who saved us. So as all this is going on, we get all these enchantments, and Loxus is talking over the intercom, and you see, like, that's the lightning bolt or whatever. And he mentions that he's initiated the Thunder Palace, right? And they go outside, and they see all these Thunder Lacrimas up there. And he says you have, he gave you the time, it was like an hour and 10 minutes. And someone has to defeat Loxus, or else, you know, they're holding all the ladies hostage. But now, since they're free, he's decided to hold the entire town of Magnolia hostage with these Thunder Lacrimas, which are going to go off in an hour and 10 minutes if something isn't done about them. And seeing all the anguish, Makarov has like a chest pain here, and he just collapses. So everyone's like, what do we do here? So Biska, who uses gun magic, re-equips to her sniper rifle and fires one of the lacrimas and destroys it. But what happens is it zaps her right back, and it's using an organic link magic. So whoever destroys it feels the exact same pain, and there's over 300 of them around the town. I guess they counted them all. So they can't really destroy the lacrimas, so essentially all the citizens of Magnolia are being held hostage now. So they really do have to defeat Loxus if they want to, you know, put an end to his tyranny here. So he's yelling at Freed, saying, you're going to go out there and defeat whoever's going to stand in our way, and you're going to kill him, he says. So, despite all this, despite everyone being free, you know, Gajiel and Natsu are still trapped here because of Freed's enchantments. And Levy says she's like the brainiac. I think they showed her with glasses or whatever. No, they didn't have her glasses on quite yet, but she's going to break the enchantment and set them free. So now we have Makarov and Biska injured. Here's the cute little scene of Levy with her glasses. Like, listen to me. I'm going to get this enchantment broken, and that's that. So Gaziel's like, I don't really care. I could care less. We're going to stop Loxus. So, again, yeah, I was getting ahead of myself before. This is the part when Loxus yells at Freed, saying, you know, stop being disloyal to me. You're going to kill whoever stands in our way. And here's a funny gag scene. So Urza makes her way to the men's bathhouse because that's where Evergreen said Loxus was hiding out. And of course, she tricked him. It's just a funny scene there. And then we have more team-ups. We have Kana and Juvia teaming up. And Lucy and Happy teaming up. And Lucy's like, I'm so cold. But have you ever seen her outfits? She always wears the most revealing outfits. And, you know, Happy makes fun of her. Like, you know, how are you cold when you're wearing your tank top? I mean, that's what you always wear. So Big Slow shows up here with his babies to attack Lucy. And Lucy calls forth her celestial spirit here, Sagittarius, the horseman and the bow and arrow guy, to fire away at Big Slow. But it turns out, you know, the celestial spirit isn't an actual person. So Big Slow can control it using his Seath magic, which is exactly what he does. And Lucy's getting overwhelmed here, being defeated by this Big Slow. And he has his babies form the Baryon formation to fire this crazy blast at Lucy. Look at her. She's completely helpless. Happy screaming. And then to block and save her is Loki. And he's like flirting with her like, oh, it was love that brought me here to save you. What kind of stupid talk is that? I am back to fulfill my vow, Loki. So Big Slow is talking to him saying, oh, Loki, I always knew your secret, how you were a celestial spirit. I kept the secret for so long. And Loki's ready to fight. If you remember, you know, he was a former member, well, he still is a member of Fairy Tail because he works for Lucy, but he was a celestial spirit in the real world for too long, and then has officially become a celestial spirit for Lucy. So they get ready to battle here, and Lucy breaks out her whip. Happy's watching, and he uses this crazy power called Regulus. Oh, Regulus, grant me your power! And he's blasting away at Big Slow. Lucy's firing away. But what Big Slow does, because just like Evergreen has a secondary power himself where he removes his mask here, and he uses figure eyes where he can actually control the spirits of sentient beings, such as Lucy, which he's trying to do. and Lucy's fighting it, and the battle is ensuing. But what eventually happens is Loki just powers up. He does Regulus, power at full. Getting ready to attack. Great scenes right here. Regulus impact, and he fires away, and you see, because he's known as Leo the Lion, and you see as he's, attacking him with that great punch, you see the imagery of the lion, and he defeats Bixlow. And all throughout the fight, Happy keeps saying, "Oh, you guys are really doing it. You're really doing it." He does this. It's the light of love, Regulus. I love Lucy. You guys are so doing it. So I don't know. Do people ship Lucy and Loki? Maybe. So after that battle, Loki returns to the keys, and then it cuts back to Levi and Gajiel trying to break free, which is what happens, and they're ready to enter the fold as well. So like, yeah, you're really great, Levi. Let's go. I'm all fired up. Natsu, of course, all fired up. So Mira Jane, who was broken from the stone statue as well, comes across her brother Elfman, who was, destroyed by Evergreen there, and she's very upset by this because, their whole family dynamic has been very traumatic. You have Lysana, the flashback of her, how she died at the hands of Elfman. Mira Jane can transform into demons, and just all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So Juvia and Kana come across Freed, and they get trapped in a Jutsu Shiki, which says it is forbidden for either wizard to leave the boundaries of this Jutsu Shiki until the other is unable to continue fighting. Once again, the two of them have to fight each other if they want a chance to defeat Freed. So what happens is Juvia, having just joined Fairy Tail and wanting to prove herself to her guildmates, decides that she's not going to fight Kana and will essentially harm herself, which she does, so that the Jutsu Shiki can be broken and Kana can go out there and fight. And you see the tears from Juvia and how she just wants to be a part of this new family and how they're all her friends. And then Kana starts crying, but she's ready to fight Freed. So Natsu and Gajiel are on their way. And then also you get this scene where Gajiel's talking to like this spirit here that says, right now your first priority is to gain the trust as a guildmate. Don't give them reason to notice you. Just act as another member of Fairy Tail. So is he conspiring with someone? What the hell's going on with that? The time to punish Fairy Tail is still a while off. Yes, sir. Uh-oh, is he still working? Well, Jose died, didn't he? Or was like beaten so badly that he has no other threat. So who's Gajiel really working for here? So Mira Jane and Elfman make their way to where Freed is, and they see Kana just like destroyed. Look at Kana's face there. Holy shit. So this is driving Mira insane. And then what happens is Elfman is trying to join the battle. And Freed also uses his other secondary magic, Dark Écriture, pain! And you see his dark eye there, and he starts inflicting all this torment onto Elfman. Dark Écriture, fear, pain, suffer! And this is making Mira snap as you see like the imagery of Elfman just bleeding, getting torn to shreds. And Mira gets a flashback to how she saw Lysana, her younger sister, die. And at this point, she's the oldest of the Strauss family. At this point, she's seeing her younger brother, Elfman, in all this pain. And Mira starts screaming, ah! And undergoes her transformation to take her demon form, Satan Soul. Holy shit, dude. As if Mira wasn't hot enough anyway. And she gets, like I said, the sexy succubus form. So she's fighting against Freed here and just completely overpowering him because, like they said a few volumes back, is that she was a former S-class wizard who, decided to stop taking on quests after what happened to her sister. She didn't want to do this over again. So this is, like he says, the demon takeover, Satan Soul. And just beating the shit out of him with all these sexy shots. And holy crap. So Freed decides to use Dark Écriture, darkness, to turn into his own demon form. And they're going at it, but Mira Jane is still more powerful than him. Because, like I said, she was a former S-class wizard. Just started beating the shit out of him and beating him to the verge of death, really. And while all this is going on, she's able to deliver the finishing blow, which she decides against. And thinking, again, of Lysana, how she shouldn't kill anyone, especially a guildmate. And she turns back to normal. And says, the fight is utterly pointless. Is that the arrogance of a winner, Mira Jane? Just finish me off. We're comrades. We're guildmates. We laugh together, carry on together, walk together. I don't need this. My only comrade is Loxus and him alone. Not him alone, right? You probably realized long ago. And there's a flashback of Freed, having interactions with all the guildmates. There's Rita saying, will you model for a drawing? Prepare for whatever. Natsu, come try to take me on, Freed. Kana, Freed, come drink it with me. You have some skills, Freed. And then even Makarov saying, you know, you're a great man, Freed. Don't do this. And she extends her hand of warmth and friendship as she's crying too. We're all family. We shouldn't do this to each other. Great message right there. I love it. And even he starts crying. I don't want to do this anymore. So, as all this is going on, let's see. We got Elfman. He's back to normal, carrying Juvia, Kana, Mira Jane, and that's it. At least it ends on a positive note. So the Raging Tribe has all been defeated with just Loxus remaining. And it's going to be 4 versus 1. We got Natsu, Gajiel, Urza, and for the first time in action, Mystigan versus Loxus. And look how pissed off Loxus looks. So, great volume right here. Here's some more, Q&A. I think Mashua mentioned here that this was like the quickest chapter he wrote was the one against Yuka, the Wave Warrior, when he wrote and drew it and all that in like 2 days because there was a video game coming out that he was really interested in. I thought that was a funny piece of work. The dude is a madman. The fact that he does these weekly issues still all these years later with Eden Zero, and then he does Fairy Tail 100's Year Quest. Incredible. So, great volume. I love seeing Mira Jane. I still think Juvia is probably the girl I find the best, but I mean, holy crap, what a sexy transformation here of Mira. God damn. So thank you all for watching, everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more manga reviews coming soon. Have a great day.